Welcome to the Center for Transformation Institute podcast, where we are uniting therapists everywhere for personal and professional growth. Your journey starts here, at the place therapists grow.
This whole idea of daylight savings time and how the days get a bit shorter and then it's so much darker, so much earlier, and where just a few weeks ago we were in summer and it was warm and we're out till 8 o'clock at night. Now it's 5 p.m. and it's time to go inside and eat dinner and go to bed. It just makes everything feel a little more dreary, a little more tired. You know, I just find myself just feeling tired. And I love the sun, as I believe we all do. We're created to, experience the sun, the sights, the brightness that just energizes our body. And so when the sun is down, there's a sense of rest coming. And so now that I'm at the office and it's getting dark while I'm still there and seeing clients, I could say it kind of makes everything feel a little dreary. And we have to create our own personal sunshine, right? In our own hearts and minds with others and with the Lord. But life, I think, does get a little harder for us as therapists and for our clients during the fall season. I always have joked with the clinicians in my office that, people are going on vacation and summer is here and they forget that they have the issues that they're struggling with. But come fall, when school starts and the sun starts going down earlier, everybody remembers what the issues are and they'll be coming back to therapy. And so we really do see that happening. And so I think for us as therapists, there's a few things going on that make our lives a little more challenging during this time of year. One is just keeping up with our own mental health, our own self-care, our own sense of having that brightness in our lives to fill up our joy tank, our capacity for what we're encountering. And then another piece of it is that our clients are struggling next level too, because of some of these same reasons, but also as the holidays approach and as people are gathering together for different events, it's hard on people, right? There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of dynamics a lot of times that are more difficult. And it really does bring things out. I think school is hard because there's a lot of activities as well as having to get less sleep, et cetera, et cetera. And so we're all under some pressure during this time of year that maybe isn't there as much in the summer or in the spring when there's this hope of the summer, right? And when things can be a little more relaxed. So I think that it's important for us to conceptualize as therapists who are using the life model, that the life model actually teaches us strategies for building our capacity to handle difficulty and staying the same person over time, right? Capacity building. I've been contemplating that lately. It really doesn't matter what job I have or how much I do it. If I have built in my capacity, what makes things hard, what leads me toward burnout, is that I don't always have the capacity to navigate what's coming my way. So a huge goal for all of us is to build more capacity, and Life Model is all about that. Another way to say it would be to fill our joy tank, to be able to be filled with joy, joyful experiences, joyful people, joyful memories, and to know how to access those things in our own minds so that we can meditate on them and be filled up, because life is coming, ready or not, here it comes. The Bible even says, in the world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. There's a lot of difficulty. Each day, as the word says, has enough trouble of its own, right? So there's trouble in each day. And we have to be able to not just face it, but stay grounded in ourselves. Polyvagal theory would call it staying in your window of tolerance, which means I can feel a full range of emotion and stay grounded in the person I am. And Life Model would call that the true identity, or seeing myself through the eyes of heaven, taking on the character of Christ, the aroma of Christ in the world. Now, of course, I am flesh. I am flesh and blood, and it doesn't matter what degree I have, how long I've been doing it, or otherwise. It never is going to make me non-human, and it's never going to make me perfect. And I think we get in trouble in some of these helping professions as pastors, as leaders in our communities, as therapists. We get into trouble when we think we've somehow arrived and that we're going to have an edge, or we want to show up in this way of thinking, oh, well, I can't feel or be or act like this because I am in this role. Well, there's good accountability for that, of course. But what's problematic is when we take on a pseudo-self, as Life Model calls it. If I put on a mask to be able to pretend that I have the capacity, but I really don't. Right? So it's like, that's no good for anybody. I need to be able to show up as my core self, even in increasingly difficult situations. And that has to do with capacity. When we use the term burnout as therapists, we're talking about this idea of compassion fatigue. I've lost my capacity. I have overridden my capacity. Now I need a break, which we all do, right? And wisdom is to know when I need that break. And then wisdom is to know, what do I need to do to fill my tank? What do I need to do to fill my joy tank, to build capacity so that I continue to be able to give out to others? So Life Model Informed Therapy that we here at CFT Institute are writing brings a life model to professional therapists, and frankly, anyone else who is interested, in a detailed and succinct way so that we can apply this to our lives personally and then be giving out of that overflow. We want to fill ourselves up, get our capacity strengthened so that we can encounter increasingly difficult situations, have a wide range of emotion, but still know what it is to be ourselves and be able to align ourselves with that level of character. This is both in action and in thought. We could be thinking one thing and doing another, and there's value in that because it's like, okay, I'm thinking this, but that's not who I want to be. But what if both our thoughts and actions were lining up with Christ? And I believe that that's what Life Model is teaching us, by teaching us how to live in community with Christ, that we're in mutual mind, that our thoughts are His thoughts, and His thoughts become our thoughts. So Wilder's actually mentioned that it's really hard for therapists to really continue to show up as a pseudo self and or as a true self, because we end up kind of having to put on this game face pseudo self when things happen that expand our capacity or override our capacity or get us out of our window. And so we learn how to fake it really, really, really good. And I don't think that's a good thing. Because we know we can fake it, then we do, rather than going into feeling some healthy shame or remorse about how we're not congruent in the way we think and feel, and we want to be able to show up. One thing I think a lot about is how, as therapists, sometimes we joke about certain diagnoses or personality disorders. It's like, oh, I can't handle that kind, or that's too much for me, or that kind of thing. Yet when the clients in our office, we don't tell them that because that would be rejecting and harmful. Yet we might say it outside of the therapy office, and that's just exactly what I'm talking about here. It's like, who do I want to be? I want to be the kind of person who, no matter what my client may hear me say, that it would always feel honoring to them. And the only way I can do that is if I am building the capacity to truly enjoy them no matter what level of difficulty they're enduring. I'm a sex addiction therapist, and one of the things that we had to practice in the first module is hearing all kinds of difficult information about types of sexual acting out that individuals do, and really work on not being disturbed by those things or disgusted by those things, so that when the client comes in, we can treat them with human kindness, compassion, and not just in a fake or pseudo self way, but in a true sense of the word, that I am showing up congruently and I really feel this way about you. I'm not faking it. So as professional therapists, we want to be able to show up as a true identity in word and in thought, in action and in thought. What if I could actually do this? What if I could stay grounded in my thought and actions? What if the way I think and feel and act are congruent with my truest and best identity? What if I model the character of Christ in every way? Now, of course, I'm not going to do this perfectly, as mentioned before, but when we think about what life model informed therapy is trying to do, this may be the nexus of it. This may be where it all comes together. Life model informed therapy module 1 is the place you need to go if you're interested in doing this. In Life Model Informed Therapy Module 1, we outline the big picture of the concept of Life Model Informed Therapy, what life model is. We have to understand those basics in order to start growing our own capacity so that we can show up for ourselves, our personal relationships, and our clients. Everyone needs us, and they need our true self. The only way to give a true right brain to right brain interaction is if I'm grounded in my true self and have cleared out all that excess that could be distracting me from being that. So if you haven't checked out Module 1 yet, we invite you to. We'd love you to be a part of this journey.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The Place Therapists Grow. We hope you will join us again next week. To expand your knowledge and continue your growth journey, go to cftinstitute.com and take our introductory course to find out how the life model can enhance your life and your clients' lives too. We look forward to continuing to learn and grow with you. See you next time.